Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the semi-finals of the Junior World Championship. This match taking place between New Zealand and France. Two sides that actually met, I believe, last year, maybe even the year prior as well. These two young sides that want to go all the way. Now the final, it has taken place this weekend, so you don't get a massive turnaround. Both sides undefeated at this stage of the competition as well. Just looking at the odds and the way that it sits, the French are the favourites. New Zealand come in as the slight underdogs for this matchup. South Africa, they are expected to get themselves the win over England, but this could certainly be quite the matchup between these two sides. New Zealand, pretty similar lineup to what we saw throughout their under-20 Rugby Championship. For the French, that side was also undefeated throughout their Six Nations comp. So it's not going to be an easy task, but certainly an entertaining one to see how it goes. We have got Chuck T has got Let's Go in there. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hi, Mr. Kiwi Sir. How are you? What do you think? Or who do you think will win this tournament? For me, South Africa are the clear favourites. And, to be fair though, if the French win this game, they might have a decent old chance of being competitive in that match. We have got there another all-nighter. It certainly is, yes. But yeah, it's been a long day already. I've been doing preparation for the next couple of days, as later on today or tomorrow, I guess depending on whereabouts you are in the world, I'm going to be heading down south, see my mum for her birthday. So I've been getting everything done early, getting slightly prepared. But yeah, this one's going to be a good one. Certainly one that you want to keep an eye out for in the under-20 champs. Looking at the previous results for these two sides, we will start off with New Zealand. The way that they sit in this under-20 Rugby Championship, we have seen them get the victory over the Japanese 38 points to 21. They were also able to beat Scotland 36-26, and then the win up against the Italians, just like the men's senior team, they won it by 30-point margin. So undefeated. And in fact, every side in the semi-finals is currently undefeated with the way that this competition sits. So no one at this point of the competition has lost. Now, unfortunately for two of these two sides, or two of the sides in the semi-finals, they will pick up their first loss today. There is South Africa versus England. On the other side of the draw, like I mentioned, for the French, they were able to get the 30-point win over the Fijians. They had the win over Spain 57-32, and then a close game with Australia went down to the wire 34-29. The scoreline for that one. We have got there, if you played Stranded Deep, I really recommend it. I think me and Isaac back in the day did. And we didn't go very well whatsoever. I think we got lost and then we never found our way back to the starter island. So that kind of stopped us playing it. But of course, do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, this is supposed to be a very close game in comparison to South Africa-England. That one's supposed to be a bit more one-sided, but hopefully this game lives up to the expectations. Can go down to the wire or at least be close like it was last year. But in terms of the key players to keep an eye out for the Kiwis, once again, a pretty well settled lineup, similar to what we did see in the last Rugby Championship, the junior one. Boxer winning both comps this year, under-20s and Nations Championship. They are so damn good. CSKO, they have got a ton of depth, that is for sure. This New Zealand side looking very different from what we did see last year up against the French, as they do currently sing the French national anthem in the stadium. And are you going to be covering the Baby Box games? We are going to be covering their semi-final. If they win that match, we won't be able to cover the final because it overlaps with the actual Springboks versus Wales game. So whoever did that scheduling did a very poor job, or obviously didn't think that the Junior Boks were going to go far in this competition, which would have been a terrible assumption as they came in as one of the big favourites. But yeah, the final of this competition overlaps with the men's international rugby. So surely they could have just moved it round, gone a day earlier or a day later. Who's favourites for this game? I saw TAB had France as favourites. Yeah, slight favourites for the French heading into this contest. Now, last year, New Zealand pulled off the narrow victory over this junior French side. Since then, this Kiwi team looks very different. It in a lot of people's opinions, doesn't look as strong. They were able to win that semi-final, though, 34 points to 26. Looking through at the try scorers, we saw, I'm just looking for a name that's familiar with these guys. No one. Stanley Solomon, Mosisi Basson, all these guys have moved on from this Kiwi side. There was a Wiseman who scored, but it wasn't Haki. I believe it was his brother. We have got there Are you still willing to sign a random piece of paper for my birthday later on this year? You'll have to remind me closer to the time, but I guess so, as long as you keep me informed. But the New Zealand national anthem being sung, the Kiwis, they are wearing the white for this contest, the French in that dark blue. Seeing a lot of junior matches that are rematches of big games that we have seen on the men's side of things recently. New Zealand, of course, did find themselves up against the French for the first round of the Nations Championship. Let's hope they play better than they sing, says Jasmine. I think it's always brutal when they put the camera right in their face with the volume, or the microphone on. I feel like the players know it's coming too. And we have got there no Louis Ballaray for this game. No idea how old he is. No, he's a little bit older. I assume you're talking about Louis Ballaray, and he is more than likely going to be playing for France, more so than the under-20s. But some of those guys who are young, talented up-and-comers, they have been in the under-20s before. Look through at New Zealand side at the moment, Peter Larkai, he was the captain of this under-20s team only a few years ago. Noah Hotham, another guy who was in there. Yeah, the singing's not great, I'll be honest, but I can't say much. My singing would be much worse. I saw on the TAB, NPC odds are out. Canterbury are favourites. I support Wellington. Who do you support? I don't really have an NPC side, to be honest, but I just hope it's a good competition. I hope we get to see some guys book themselves a spot on that greatest rivalry tour. And France have this in the bag, says Tamunda. They do come in as the slight favourites, but I actually think they should be slightly heavier favourites than they are, just because of the difference compared to this New Zealand side now with where they were last year. Is this game on Rugby Pass for everyone besides the USA? I think it's everyone except who have major broadcasters. So for us here in New Zealand, for instance, I think we've got the Sky subscription where you have to watch it. In Australia, I assume it's on Stan. Are you doing the Island match? No, because that one actually overlaps, doesn't it? They do a couple overlapping games for these under-20s matches. So Ireland are playing at the same time as South Africa versus England, which is the other semi-final in the under-20s comp. Yeah, that guy, damn, my spelling is bad. First it was Tala. And now this is Tyler. The under-20 New Zealand side just about to do their haka. The Box will be favourites to win this comp. It would be a surprise if they didn't win this competition. I'll put it that way. They are booked already pretty much in the final, although they have got a valiant England in front of them here, but it's going to take a lot to beat them. Just looking through at the final, like I mentioned, it does overlap with the men's senior game. If those junior Box want to watch their men's side in action, or maybe even get a call up from Rasi, we're seeing a few under-20s guys in the mix this week. They'd have to lose that game because then they get to play earlier and it wouldn't overlap. So they could watch the senior Box in action too. Who are Ireland playing? They have got their game up against the Fijians, which will be a hard-hitting affair. Junior Fijians, just like the men's side, they will come out and absolutely smash anyone that moves. The All Blacks, after the 8-point victory over the French just last year, with a very different-looking lineup, but some decent form in this competition, sitting undefeated with 3 wins from 3, just like the French, who also were undefeated throughout their Six Nations campaign. A smile on the face of a few of the French players excited for the challenge here. But looking through, 1 second, we'll go like this and we'll go like that. There we go. These are the pools that we have seen so far. As you can see, the French had that narrow victory over the Australians. Their points differential is actually worse than Aussie, but because they got that victory, they qualified as that number 1 seed. England, they were undefeated in their group, having a worse points differential than Argentina, but still managing to win that important matchup. New Zealand, having the best points differential in their group. But if you think that's a good points differential, look at that team in Pool A with the plus 144 after also getting that 100 points that they scored against Uruguay. But the haka has been done. Is this game not on Sky Sport? It is. It's on Sky Sport 2 here in New Zealand. I'm guessing that Tavatavanawai's name is not spelt like that, right? Surely not. No. You got the first part right. All you need for Nawai is Nawai, and you'd be all good in terms of the spelling. It's a name that's daunting to say, but it's actually not as difficult spelling as it seems. A little bit similar to Fihi Finianofo. If you know how to pronounce it, you can almost spell it. Live link, please, says Melvin. I think it's on Rugby Pass TV by the sounds of it, but you have to be in certain countries that don't have it available on the regular broadcaster. What a nice final for the Baby Box versus France, says Damonda. Yeah, well, it probably would be more compared. Oh, no, won't necessarily say that because, of course, South Africa thought they were going to clean sweep the Kiwis in the Under-20 Rugby Championship, and they drew in the end 29-29. So perhaps that would be more of the rematch that both of the sides would be after, showing a little bit more Southern Hemisphere dominance. But, yeah, the French are favourites. Be surprising if they weren't able to get this one done, but rugby's unpredictable, as we know. Yeah, it is all said I was live, semi-final one. I didn't have the team's names, my bad, says Kahu, because there is also another game on currently. It is Georgia versus Italy, I believe. It's also going to be taking place. George Selwood will be the referee in charge of this game. Like they've said, it is a massive magnitude type of occasion here. All in the hands of Kala Tuana. We have got their Nawai like that. Yep, perfect, just like that. And that's so much easier than I think. Yeah, now I'm going to try and spell Fidianofo. How do you say it? That's not even close to the spelling, but you at least almost started going that way. But that is kicked off by the French and retained straight away. Going to be popping out on the French's side after a bit of a rough breakdown. Trying to get the steal was David Luai. Currently on the 22-metre line, though, with Geral. Oh, he's got back up, and there is a knock-on early from Le Bleu. Garrod just not quite getting that one right. It's going to give New Zealand the early scrum opportunity. It's going to be one of those games where little moments will probably win the game for either side, but just tried to go for the quick pick and go around the side of the breakdown. There was a bit of space, New Zealand. Left a bit of a gap there. But Garrod just not quite able to take it cleanly. George Selwood just making sure that he's laying down the law when it comes to the scrums. They haven't shown the pack weights as of yet here for the two sides, but two relatively sized fullbacks. Josh Finley actually looks a little bit like Josh Morby from that angle they were just showing. Of course, Morby making that debut for the All Blacks just last weekend. Perhaps could find himself in the Irish Test match this weekend too. Oh, free kick goes the way of Charlie Sinton. And it doesn't seem like New Zealand are in any hurry to take this one quickly. Instead, more than likely, just looking to sink it downfield into touch. Oh, in fact, no, they've decided to go for the quick tap and instead kick it down to halfway where the French were waiting. Beautiful offload on the outside, firing it back in, but it's another knock on this time from, I believe it was Bastien Razal. What's your setup like? Do you have like 3 monitors? One for the game, one for the comments, and one for the vibes. I have 2 monitors. I'm missing the vibes monitor. So I've got the game on this one and the chat on this one, as well as the like streaming software. Wales are going to get pumped next week. And saying that it's in Durban. Not a true fortress, but still, yeah, it's going to be a tough day for the Welsh. Although we have to say they've had some good improvements throughout these July internationals. Of course, there's still a little way to go before they're back to where they want to be. But some bright prospects coming out of the Welsh side. At this point in time, another scrum here. Charlie Sinton put it in for New Zealand yet again. We were able to score the early try last year up against the French. We're looking to do it again here in Georgia. Going away to the left. Now, nice step on the inside. Time it was Pahulu. Back across, finds the hands of Finley. They've got about 40 metres out from New Zealand's line. That ball, it's the own player who was holding it in there. I think New Zealand were halfway hoping for the penalty, but then they realised the man wearing white was on their side. Kick downfield, and it's going to be a tough one to take for the French. And this one's going to be kicked towards the sideline by Guillard. Doesn't find touch though. New Zealand round the halfway line, looking to run it back to the halfway line for Norrie. No advantage. That'll probably be for above the sternum. That is one of the rules that they have brought in for this under-20s comp. Now moving away to the right-hand side. Line break opportunity for the big man, Bradley Tocker. How disappointing is Fiji at the moment? Yeah, well, they did all right in their game up against the Welsh, didn't they? But unfortunately, their game up against England, they just never got it going whatsoever. Backline here for New Zealand. Look at a grubber it in behind. And that might almost be a 50-22. In fact, no, they're going back for the original penalty anyway. About 4 minutes into this contest, New Zealand having a lot more of the possession in the early stages after 2 early French handling errors. And then it's going to be for the high shot around that halfway line. I think that New Zealand will look to be aggressive here. I don't see many times where they will look towards the corner. Or sorry, look towards the posts. Definitely not with this one. This one's on the halfway line. Put it into touch around that 22-metre line. Just showing that step again of Norrie. He just finds a way of creating chances for this under-20 side. And for some of these players, this is almost a trial for getting into those Super Rugby sides. Seen someone like a Stanley Solomon was playing for the under-20s last year. He is now involved with the Highlanders, moving away to the right-hand side. Kiwis move up to 22 metres out from the line. Now going back across to the right-hand side, Micah Muliaina didn't quite sneak through the gap. Now Sinton on the short side. Goes to Josh Finley. Lot of early possession here for New Zealand. Sinton moves it to the right again. France looking for those steals in the breakdown. Struggling to get that perfect timing. Going short side that time. Kiwis running out of space. So instead now firing it off to the left. Oh no, in fact Sinton's going to test his luck on the short side with Stewart. Back across again. This time Jake Frost. 5 metres from the French try line. As at 4 all. Was it 4 all for the Nations Championship? 6 all at the moment in terms of North versus South. We have there Mr. Kiwi Sir. What do Kiwi girls like? I want to get myself a Kiwi girlfriend like Braxton Sorensen McGee is really pretty, says Tyler. I think depending on the girl will depend heavily on what she's like. Because there's probably, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a Braxton Sorensen McGee, might be quite hard to find. A line out here, 5 metres out from the line with Josh Finley. I've gone with the full line out here of 8 players. I think that's just to try and lure in some of the French defenders. Dragged down 1 metre short. In fact, they may have made their way over. Yes, they do, New Zealand, and they strike early in this contest. That has been near the perfect start for this New Zealand team. First try, and it's Max Farley who has been able to score it. Oh no, they're giving credit to Ethan Webber. Although Farley was doing the high fives with his teammates. Just dragged down. Initially, it looked like it was going to be short for New Zealand, but managed to reach out afterwards. And yeah, Farley let that ball down to leave it for his tight head, Ethan Webber. Then managed to get the ground, and we have Githea, who is Fiji, playing in Murrayfield next week. But they don't play England or Wales in their normal stadium. I assume that's why is Fiji rather than who is. I think it just comes down to what stadium was available, and just, yeah, I think it just worked out that way. Norrie lines up the shot at the post, and it's gone over. So New Zealand, after the first 7 minutes, they are leading up against the French. 7 points to 0. Keep it up, baby blacks or baby whites, because they are wearing white, says Jasmine. Yeah, it's been the perfect start after a bit of a shaky one from the French, who had a couple early touches of the ball, but unfortunately the handling. Twice they have dropped their the position. New Zealand have been able to capitalise both times. Now kicking off. Oh, going for the grubber here, France. They love a little bit of a mix-up in terms of the way that they take a kickoff, but it's another drop ball from the French, and it gives it straight back to Bradley Toko, who moves up to the halfway line. That is now 3 touches, 3 drop balls from the French. Kicking it in behind, looking for the 50-22 from New Zealand. It goes out on the full, though. Needed to bounce just a little bit in the field of play. Micah Muliaina apologising to his teammates. Who do you think will win next week? Pumas or England? That's the game of the round for me, says Kyle. I think that England might take it. They did go there during the British and Irish Lions tour without their main starters, and they were able to win both matches up against the Argentines. So with a lot more stronger players this time round, I think they can do it again. If you ever go to Bangkok, don't use taxis, use Grab. Better living, everyone, says Jasmine. I have to remember that if I ever end up in Bangkok. Although I think at this stage, if I end up in Bangkok, it's probably because I've been kidnapped and taken there, because I don't have any plans of going there in the near future. Currently the ball and hands of the French. Bit of a counter-ruck, though, from New Zealand, and they get another penalty. Where is this being played? It is being played in Georgia for this contest. So they've dealt with some severe weather throughout this competition. I remember the early stages, New Zealand's game actually got cut short up against the Japanese due to severe weather. They're actually quite close at halftime too in that game. New Zealand starting to run away with it, and then the weather did strike. They are just talking about the humidity that they're dealing with out there on the field as well, which more than likely, I would think, will give us some water breaks at some stage throughout this contest. Australia should win next week against Italy, right? They should, but it's very hard to tell what Australia are going to do now after losing to the French in that second half. Good afternoon, how are you, my best friend, says Mohadeen. I'm doing all right. Currently very sleep deprived from the weekend. Okay, lots of movement on both sides of the line out, so referee George Selwood wants a reset. Currently 10 minutes through this contest. New Zealand are leading 7-0 over the French. This is for a spot in the final to take on either South Africa or England. And the one side can make it through. Last year it was New Zealand. This year the French want to take it out. Now, nicely claimed at line-out time from New Zealand, who have had the silkier handling throughout the early stages. That ball's loose, and in fact, it's going to be another knock-on against the French. It was a strip initially, it looked like. It's going to be ruled as a knock-on from Razal. Hello from South Africa, says Gogawe. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Welcome in. And how was Springboks lineup for Saturday? Do you think South Africa will win? Yes. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they didn't beat the Welsh. But a few curveballs in there from Rassi, going with 4 debutants, including Vusi Moyo and also Yako Williams, 2 men who we saw pretty recently in the under-20 setup. Really testing out that squad depth as a whole at the moment, Rassi. Making multiple changes each and every week. 11 minutes gone in this contest. New Zealand with a scrum in a perfect position on the field, sitting about 20 metres out from the French line. And again, the early handling, although that one's going to be a penalty that goes against the New Zealand front row. Do you think they will win tonight, the Springboks? Yeah. They come in as heavy favourites up against the English. Now, from memory, last year, these two sides, England and South Africa, that is, they played in the pool stages, and I think South Africa won by 10 points or so. What do I mean, 32-22? That cost us about $4 to $5 for a 4K ride. As you can grab in Bangkok, you get a set price, says Jasmine. That's probably very handy because sometimes they'll just take the longer route, won't they? Line out throw here for the French. Taken at the front of the line out, and now the rolling maul is set. And guys, just know that the Junior Springboks are playing. They are. They are going to be playing in 2 hours and 15 minutes time. We are going to be covering their game on the channel too. Now France trying to snipe round the side of the breakdown. Now Thiel is going to have a very important role to play in that number 9 jersey for the French. Long way off the wing there for Melvin Rates. Oh, going for a kick in behind. Oh, it's out on the full from the French. Just looked like it was a bit rushed there. And when is the final? It takes place at the same time as South Africa versus Wales this weekend. So it is going to be at 6:30 p.m. South African time, which honestly is a terrible time for it to be taking place. I would have thought that they'd try and dodge overlapping with the men's matches of the Nations Championship for the sake of getting more eyes on the junior game. But no, it overlaps, which is a big shame. Nicely taken. And even if they finish third, the Boks does still overlap with the senior team. Now, Kawanori passes across there to the left-hand side, close to the sideline for David Luai, but they move towards halfway again. Wanting to steal on the breakdown there, France, and 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. are my favourite kickoff times. Says, how's it? Yeah, see, I don't get those kickoff times too often. Super Rugby, we sometimes get them for like the 4:35 p.m. kickoff. But yeah, 3 p.m. kickoff, maybe for the NPC. We get close to that. Nice run there down the wing. That's forward into the hands of the winger here. And I would say if they have a check of that one, it probably would get disallowed. Mika Fale. Sorry, that's actually Max Fale. Mika making his way off of the bench a little bit later on in this contest. Oh, that's a knock on from the Kiwis this time. And another try, please, New Zealand. And hi, Hamish, thanks for getting up early. Your side, cheers from Durban. I will say, though, I haven't got up early because I haven't slept yet. So, staying up late instead. It's not flirting in with the touchline, says Jasmine. Yeah, this game kicking off 2 a.m. New Zealand time. The one thing that I do really enjoy about the junior matches, though, is how smoothly they run. There's not all of the stoppage that we get for the Nations Championship. We saw a couple of the games go 2 hours in the men's side of things this last weekend. Normally in an under-20s game, you're going to probably finish about an hour 40, hour 45 at worst. How was work today, says Mohadeen. No work for me today, but yeah, it is my mum's birthday currently. So what I'm going to be doing is after doing that next live stream, having a sleep and then driving down to see her. Now going for the big push there at scrum time from the French. Didn't manage to win the penalty advantage now. Moving it away to the right-hand side. A beautiful step there from Zwela. Now Gurin. He well and truly missed him. They're asking for a penalty. I don't think they're going to get it. Hulu thought he was guaranteed the ball. Although from Herd Island, just logged on, who scored the try. So the first try of the match was scored by Ethan Webber. Ball still on the side of, no, it's not actually. It was on the side of the French, and then the referee ruled it unplayable. Oh no, lost forward in the tackle, in fact. I was going to say, that seemed very quick to be ruling it unplayed, but knock on from France. That's now their 5th knock on, ladies and gentlemen, in the first 15 minutes. We've seen now with that beautiful run down the wing from Paul Celio Zuela that if they hang on to the ball, they can do pretty handy and they can make meters, but they just have to keep that ball in the grasp. Happy birthday to your mum. Have a wonderful day and enjoy it. Appreciate your mum who's alive, says Mohadeen. Now scrum feed here for New Zealand, yet again 30 metres out from their own try line. Is Marcus Muller playing? Yes, he is. Playing from the 13 jersey alongside Ethan Adams in that centre pairing. Nice pass from New Zealand, getting it out wide again. A little bit of a counter-act. That almost looked like a neck roll there from the Kiwis. Bit of juggling of the ball there for Patrick Monga. Now Sinton back into the pocket to Micah Muliaina, looking straight into the sun, but goes down the middle of the field, skidding on into the French 22. Now Guillard. Ooh, it's closed out on the fall, but beautifully taken from New Zealand just inside of the touchline. Now a kick downfield, and that is a good strike as well from New Zealand there, getting it back down towards about 40 metres out from their own try line. This will be a great foundation for France to be able to attack from. Who's kicking for the junior box? More than likely Ahmed will be in charge of that kicking tee. He has been for a majority of the season. I think Vusi Moyo, he might be kicking for the senior box this weekend, more than likely. A line out here for France going to the back. In fact, it's overthrown beautifully. Dodged by George Selwood. Managed to avoid getting hit with that possession. Now back across to the right. From Dro, and a turnover in the breakdown again for New Zealand, who have decided to take it quickly. A little bit of a risk there from Haki Wiseman. He's got way too much on that kick, and he boots it dead, so they'll go right back to where it was kicked from. Wonder Gisela not playing. I think it's just for the rotation's sake. And another game is a blowout. Well, other game is a blowout. 26-7. Geez, that's high scoring early on. Where is it? That's so Italy leading that one, Jasmine, or is it Georgia who have taken the big lead? Just getting over that ball and doing well. And then Haki Wiseman, he saw the space in behind, but maybe forgot how strong his boot was, because he sent that one way downfield and probably needed another 20 metres of field to have had that one stay in the field of play. But now it's backfired. France have got themselves the attacking scrum 40 metres out from New Zealand's line. I guess Italy, says Jasmine, because they're playing off the 9th and 12th semi-final, right? And winner faces Ireland. Nice step there down the wing again from France. Moving closer for Rattez. Oh, New Zealand penalised. And a little bit of afters there as well. Or no, everyone's still calm just for now. But France now, this is a very good attacking position. Okay, second player was offside, says George Selwood. But now the best opportunity for France to try and get something going here. Kicking towards the corner. I don't see a huge amount of going for threes in these under-20 games. A lot of them have been one-sided, so that is the main reason why. But this is finals rugby at the end of the day. Bit of a slip there down the wing for, I believe it was David Luai. Now the rolling maul here for the French. It looks like it's going to be quite a handy position to be on the field. Their set piece has been strong in this competition, and they score off the rolling maul just like New Zealand did just a moment ago. And by the looks of it, they've just said there that they have scored a try in every 26 minutes of this competition. Is the number one, Matteo Frizzak. He's a big boy. He'll be hard to stop that close to the line, but Frizzak just gets it out the back of the rolling maul. It looked like initially they were going to be targeting their hooker as the man who runs it, but I don't think they needed to go back to him in the end. Oh, does he score that? Tell you what, replay from this angle makes it look like that ball was not completely in his control, but looks like it might be all right. We have got there what's wrong with Australia team. They go well first half, second half they bad. Yeah, they just dropped off, didn't they? Up against the French, who did play much better. 3 tries in 7 minutes in that second half definitely didn't help. The try has been scored, and that'll make the score 7 points each with the conversion going over. And now we are into that cooling break. It is a 3-minute period, and that is just to keep the players fresh while they are dealing with the severe heat that this competition has been played in. Like I mentioned earlier on in the comp, there were games that were either delayed or cancelled halfway through because of this weather. And it's certainly nice and warm. 1 try apiece, though, both being scored by the props in this matchup. That doesn't happen too often. And hi, Olin Hamish says, Robert, welcome in. Robert, hope you are doing very well. You're excited for the match just around the corner, too, between the junior box and also the English. Is the box having a cooling break? Probably. They're playing at the same stadium, so more than likely it will still be hot in about 2.5 hours' time when they play. In fact, they're actually playing in about 1 hour 40, aren't they, the box? 1 hour 40? No, not quite. 2 hours 10, I believe, is when their game's going to be kicking off. They're saying it's 50% humidity, but they're saying that compared to yesterday, it actually feels a lot more humid. And I, Hamish High all says, Wild Lobster, welcome in. You are doing extremely well. Just the 2 tries so far, 1 apiece. 1 for Ethan Weber, 1 for Matteo Frizzak, and that number 1 jersey for the French. Both sides enjoying using their forwards, and actually both sides scored off the rolling maul too. Morning, Hamish, how's it? Says, Jill, welcome in. I'm not excited today. I'm going to the dentist. Oh, that's going to hurt the old bank balance, isn't it? Good old dentist. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. The ones who are either waking up. Well, actually, what time zone would morning be? Is that morning for me, Chill, or is that morning for you? So I guess it's afternoon in South Africa, isn't it? For anyone who is from South Africa, too, let me know what you think of Rassi's lineup. The one that has been selected for their game this weekend up against the Welsh. The sad thing is we have to wait 3 more days till anyone else announces the lineup. Do you think the Boks are the best team in history? Says Kahu. This current group of Springboks are definitely right up there. I think it's one of those ones that will always be heavily debated depending on where your bias lies, and also depending on what kind of, I guess, depends on how you look at the evolution of rugby too. Did you visit the dentist? Yeah, Hamish, I have visited a dentist in my lifetime, yes. But, yeah, not like in the last 3 months or so. 2:25 in New Zealand. Oh, so you've woken up for this game specifically, or were you up anyway? 10:30 a.m. here in US New Jersey. One's going to be dropped again by France off the kickoff. There is the advantage for the sternum high tackle from Max Fale. And they've just got time off at the moment. Well, they're going to the TMO too. They definitely are. As they have two first teams that could be any other team in the world. So there's the share there. And no dots to count tonight, Hammy? No, sorry, I'm just wearing a basic hoodie. Yeah, there's no dots. I could try and spill something on it so you have some dots that you can have a look at. Right, they're TMOing this one to see whether or not Max Fale. Okay, so it's head on head. There is a dip from Lucas and Gizimache. There is head contact though. They feel like he can be lower, and they feel like it meets the yellow card threshold. 4:30 p.m. South African time, says Tashia. Wait, is it Tashia or is it just Tasha? It might just be Tasha, is it? And I'm overthinking the pronunciation. 6:30 p.m. here, just knocked off, so perfect timing. Says captained. Max Fale, he will be making his way from the field now for the yellow card. New Zealand playing with 14. For the next 10 minutes of this contest, the New Zealand team, they had Dan Carter and Richie McCaw, will always be the Michael Jordan of rugby. Says Slow GT. But Fale, I don't think he realised he was going off. How do you pronounce the French number 7's last name? You hope for the best, and you hope it just rolls off the tongue, to be honest. His name hasn't rolled off my tongue very well at all. You're not broadcasting from New Zealand, Hamish? I am as well, yes. But I always get confused with where everyone else is from. Tashia? Is it Tashia? Hopefully. Now rolling more here for France, although they didn't stick with that for too long. Oh, trying a risky offload. That is something that you'd be surprised that they'd try, definitely, with the way their handling has been. And they've dropped the ball again here. Another handling error from this French side. That is now about the 7th throughout the first 21 and a half minutes. If they can sort that out, that will be extremely dangerous. Now, the Box will beat England, right? They should do. Yeah, you got it. Says Tashia there. European officials have made the game like soccer, trying to make it a different sport, I'll say, from dub. Max Fale going to be off the field for another 8.5 minutes. France yet to make the most of the opportunity as of yet. We have got there New Zealand, says Lawrence there too. Just trying to think. Last year, New Zealand versus France. Was that the game that had all the controversy in it? In terms of the cards and whatnot late in the match? Yeah, it was. Frank Vainuku as well as Wiseman both got cards in the second half. Thought I could remember there was a time when New Zealand were playing with about 13 against this French side, but currently they have got themselves the ball in hand with 14 on the field. I hope it's a New Zealand versus Box final. Says Tashia. Would be awesome to see the rematch, definitely after the Under-20 Rugby Championship, with it being 29-29 between those two sides. Last year was actually the full-time, or the final two. That one, South Africa able to win by 8. New Zealand not having too many card issues other than Paulet early on got the red. South Africa got 2 yellow cards after that stage. Currie Cup is playing Friday and Sunday. So here's Mohideen now going short side here with Josh Finlay. Oh, France told to get out of there and gives away the penalty advantage. Flick pass up to Mwanga as they move up to the 22-metre line. And throw everything into this here, New Zealand, as they do have the backup option. Going back for the penalty, Charlie Sinton passes across. Wiseman finds the hands of Pahulu. Now across to Micah Muliaina. Low tackle made by Razal. Now right-hand side. This is a big chance for Jake Frost to make a couple extra metres. Oh, referee George Selwood just saying there, stop trying to buy penalties off me. He's getting sick of New Zealand trying to get one in the breakdown. I think they're just after that next penalty advantage, hoping for their best. Charlie Sinton. Oh. Okay, referee's about to give them a bit of a talking to. Okay, so George Selwood there has said, currently in the last few phases, we saw players from New Zealand holding the French players in, trying to get the not rolling away penalty. He also said that he feels like Charlie Sinton can actually do a lot better when it comes to getting to the breakdown to play the ball. And then George Selwood said, if it keeps on going like this and you keep on trying to buy penalties, it's not going to end well for you. So New Zealand have received, I would say that's their final warning for that. 40-7 in the other game. Yeah, so this one's definitely the closer match, isn't it? Just seeing there. I'm looking at some of the results from last year's Under-20 Championship. England versus Australia was 68-40. Insane scoreline. I remember England actually missed out on making the quarterfinals. That was due to their narrow loss to the Box by 10 in the group stage. Now rolling maul here, 25 minutes into the game. And New Zealand going to score the third rolling maul try in this contest. Josh Finlay just stays in the field of play. Now Sinton pops it short, close to the try line. They're 1 metre out now. New Zealand in another penalty advantage. Going against the French, still 1 metre short after another tackle. It's called held up. Okay, Hucky Wiseman not happy with that call from the referee. And George Selwood telling him, well, if it's completely wrong. Oh. The French just tried to take a quick tap. It's actually a very good strategy here from France. What they have done there is they have stopped New Zealand from being able to go with a quick tap by acting like they were the team who won the penalty. Now, the referee is not going to ping them for it. But it is going to be a line out here for New Zealand, 5 metres out from the line. The Tumo has been looking to see if Hucky Wiseman got that ball down. Oh, tell you what. That looked close to, that might have been someone's leg, actually. Very hard to tell the difference sometimes. Thrown to the front of the line out here for the Junior All Blacks. France just trying to drag it sideways. They have to be very careful doing something like that. Romeo Bernard Martin. Now still rolling forward here. Josh Finlay looking to pass it back. New Zealand on the line and this time scoring. Tell you what, rolling mauls are kind of a feature here for these two sides. They're the only tries we're seeing scored. No one's running it with their backs. They're using the front rowers, and it's Henry Stewart this time who manages to get the try. Maybe the Hamish thanks for the commentary, mate. Says, Josh, no worries at all. Tell you what, we've got a little bit of a chance of a bit of history here. I would assume that the first 3 tries being scored by 3 different props has not happened very often, if not ever. The next man who needs to score is, I believe it's Alexandre Langlois. Oh, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but he's wearing the number 3 jersey for France. We could have 4 props scoring in this game in a row. It's the baby box England final. It's not quite how it works. Tamunda, they're playing each other in the semi. So I assume it's you wanted baby box France earlier on. I assume that's the same one that you're wanting here. You're doing the commentary for the next match as well. We certainly are. Looking forward to seeing how the junior box go. Some absolute tanks in that side. Ethan Adams, that number 12 jersey. And then alongside him, Marcus Muller as that midfield combination. I think we're just finding out about this yellow card. I really hope this doesn't get upgraded. I don't think it was anything close to severe enough. Okay, it's going to remain as a yellow card. I believe it's actually almost expired here for New Zealand. Please sing till 6:30. That would be a lot of singing. This game is flying along at the moment. Going to be kicked off now. Nicely taken inside of the 22 for Pahulu. Are they playing him in the semi? They can't play each other in the final, says Tashia. Carried back into the 22, taken back. They cannot fire it in to touch on the full, and they did not listen one bit to George Selwood there. Okay, Cohen Norrie not happy about it, but that needed to be a bit more communication there between the Kiwis. It is nowhere near loud enough in the stadium for that to have not been heard. But Selwood, first of all, he said taken back, and then he also mentioned about how it was rolled back in. So he gave them opportunities, New Zealand, to not kick that one out on the full. But here comes another rolling maul for the French this time. 2 minutes, in fact, remaining of the Max Farley yellow card. Not moving as quickly forward. We're going to see the tight head score here, although now it's starting to move, breaking away, getting turned around, brilliantly defended by New Zealand, who turn it into a rolling maul. They take him down to ground. It becomes unplayable. Brilliant defence from the junior All Blacks. A little bit of afters there between Caleb Woodley and Matteo Frazak, although I don't think Frazak was at all interested. He was more disappointed the fact that his side couldn't get that rolling maul going. But that's the way you score in these games. At the current point in time, all 3 tries have been from rolling mauls. Set piece, so crucial in the junior game currently. It's very hard to... That was offside, actually. Looking at the replay there, one of the Kiwi players came from the French's side, and I'm surprised that they missed it live, as he definitely didn't come in from an onside position. But it will be the scrum for New Zealand, 5 metres out from their own line. So this time it will not be taken back. They are able to kick it out on the full if they want to. Now going away to the right-hand side. Big shot coming in on Bahulu. Now Norrie this time kicks it into touch without the risk of it going right back. Decent exit too. 10 minutes remaining of this first half. In the first semi-final, it is a close one. Currently, New Zealand narrowly leading by the 5 points. France are one big move away from getting themselves a try. And we've got to remember they had 7 handling errors throughout the early stages of this half. And they keep ball in hand. They are a lot more dangerous. They've just dropped the ball again, but luckily for the French, it has gone backwards, going for the kick in behind. It's going maybe a little bit too deep into the in-goal area and just having to be forced by Cohen Norrie. He didn't want to take the risk like we saw. Who was that by? Was it Fiji who decided to leave that ball and hope that it would go dead? And then I think it was the Welsh actually who managed to score it in the first round of the Nations Championship. Down the middle of the field, that one's kicked. Now running it back again. Nice step. They're quick on the wings too, France. Oh, that looked illegal. They want to take it quickly. One of the French players got a poke in the eye, I think from one of his teammates. And France look like they've got someone in a bad way here. It is Axel Gilliard. They might actually check this. The yellow card returning, but it's not Max Farley. They have decided to make the early change, and Finn McLeod will make his way on for New Zealand. We're just going to see the replay of this breakdown. Oh, there was a little bit of a clean out on the ground. I think it was Haki Wiseman was going over that breakdown. They are just checking it from all angles here to make sure that there wasn't any sort of foul play. New Zealand definitely don't want to find themselves with another man in the bin, though. That would be disastrous just after returning to the 15. Yeah, just saying about maybe Max Farley could have been staying off for that HIA too. The penalty does go against New Zealand, though, for leaving the feet in the breakdown. 25 metres out from the line. France are chasing the corner yet again. Seems to be the big tactic in this game from all these sides. Kick it towards the corner. And try and get that maul going. Tell you what, if you were a fan of rolling mauls, and that was your favourite part of rugby, you'd be absolutely loving this game. 3 rolling maul tries have been scored, and the French are trying to make it a 4th. Well claimed. They're getting driven backwards for now, France. No advantage. New Zealand not joining that maul correctly. Trying to find the ball. It's come out the back. Oh, double blow the whistle. Someone else going to the bin here. And radio commentary is first class. Love the banter. When you get going with the comment section and keep on the game without losing step or losing your wit and humour. First class, thank you. Says Anaroa, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. I will mention some of these French names absolutely, like I'll butcher them every single time, unfortunately. But yeah, it's currently almost 3 a.m. here in New Zealand. I have no idea how I'm still awake, but I think it is down to the fact that you guys are always tuning into these live streams. It does keep me on my toes because I never know what you're going to say. Now, line out here for the French. 5 metres out from the line yet again. I'm looking closely for the number 3 because once again, I want to see 4 props scoring the first 4 tries, but another rolling ball. This one's really good from the French, and Harold goes over, and it is the try. 4 tries from rolling mauls, and the French bring it back to 12-12. Who's better at defending mauls, South Africa or England? But the 4th try for Gavin Garau, I should say. And like they've said, they aren't bored of what's working. And at the moment, what is working is just rolling mauls every day of the week. Backline movements, nah. Get it in the forwards. Roll on over. Oh, we have you there, Limp Biscuit. Rolling, says Rugby Debuts. It's a good finish again from the French. I will ask the question, though. Rugby Debuts. Do you actually post videos of Rugby Debuts? I'd assume that would be maybe where the name comes from, right? And more people in the chat than at the stadium, I see. Yeah, well, it's pretty warm, humid. I think on the near side there are a few more people. That's a nice kick from France. That will make the score now 14-12. What is your next commentary stint after today, Saturday? I hope, or else you will not be getting any sleep, says Joss Pike. Yeah, so next slot will be on Saturday, New Zealand time. So that'll be still Saturday for you guys in South Africa, I've realised. And we got the 5 matches of the Nations Championship. And then after that, there's a little bit of a gap in terms of internationals and whatnot. I'm not sure what we're going to do for those other weeks that we're waiting. Maybe a little bit of Curry Cup or something to fill in the gap. The NPC also not a mile away from starting up. And don't forget the Instagram, says Mohadeen. And just international test debut, says Rugby. Well, you'd have a few recently to be able to go through. Do you base it mainly off like certain countries in terms of like your main ones that you like to go for? Or is it just any international debut that you can find? Sinton going away to Micah Muliaina. Moves it on now. Beautiful step from Norrie. Moves up to the halfway line. Look for the offload up. And it's knocked on the ground from New Zealand again. Most sides are struggling to find the ball in their hands for multiple phases, which probably makes sense as to why the set piece is so effective throughout this matchup. But Norrie did the hard work. And just as he was starting to find a bit of a running rhythm, all countries done 436 so far. That's a good effort. 436. 1 second, I'm going to have a look. But a little bit of medical attention at the moment. Coming here for, I think there was Patrick Munga. Right, it is loading in terms of the YouTube studio because then I can click on the channel. Go to channel. I've hit subscribe. There you go. Dan Carter's international debut. James Pass. Oh, so you do like old school ones. Do you do like the new debuts as well? Or is that because of copyright it's a little bit tricky to be able to do them based off like recent times? But now on the halfway line, or roughly the halfway line, it will be the scrum for France, who are up by the 2 points currently. I'd love one more try before the halftime break. That would be absolutely huge for this Le Bleu side's confidence. Kia ora, Hamish. Looks like a tight game. So who do we think the Baby Box will be playing in the final? France came in as favourites. and they've stopped dropping the ball as often, which is massive because they had 7 drop balls in about the first 20 minutes of the game. Then from there, they shored it up a bit more. And then, yeah, I would say that France, if they can score again before this halftime break, they'll be in the absolute box seat. And old is easier, but newer ones are getting much harder. It's unmonetized. Says rugby debuts. Yeah, because they're pretty strict on copyright. Like, we've received multiple copyright strikes. We've never shown a second of footage. Like, they go, one of them, back in the day for Super Rugby, we got copyright struck because they said we used Super Rugby in the title and that wasn't allowed. So, like, they'll find random excuses. So, yeah, it must be quite a challenging one. Here comes another rolling maul for the French. Been challenging to stop those mauls throughout this contest, but moving it away to the left-hand side. It's the captain getting very close to the line, trying to reach out. Couldn't quite get there. Fighting for those extra meters. Now backline movement for the French. Trying the cross kick. It wasn't the plan, or it wasn't the tactic, and I think they have realised that. France trying to get it in the air to Zwalea. Or Zwalea, I think it is. But that is a big reprieve for New Zealand. That's a good start for them. Always good to hold on to the ball. And thanks for posting the box teams against Wales. I screenshot it and posted it on status on WhatsApp. Says Bruce there. Now kicking it down to the halfway line off the goal line. Drop out for New Zealand. Skip pass. Risky business. Stolen by New Zealand, who then decided to try and give it straight back to France. But now in the hands of Bradley Toka. They need a halfback, and they've now got it in the form of Haki Wiseman. The French 17-17. Having a competition for the longest name in rugby. Says Yanko. Yeah, it's quite a tongue twister. The man in the 7 jersey. I can say his first name easy enough. Chipping behind from New Zealand, but they'll go back now for the original advantage. 2 minutes now remaining in this first half. It has actually really flown by, and that is one thing that I absolutely love about the under-20s rugby. This game started 47 minutes ago. We've had 38 minutes of rugby, and we've also, of that time, had 3 minutes of the cooling break. So it's been a pretty smooth one as a whole. I believe they will also have the 20-minute halftime break, but I could be wrong. I know normally for the warmer games, so it's the big sternum hit. Romeo Bernard Martin was the man penalised. They're just showing it again. New Zealand, it was 5-on-2. And they went for a cross kick, the French. It's just not the right choice. Beautifully taken at the back of the line out now. Straightening run from New Zealand. Wiseman. Yeah, I think they're going to say there that the reason he couldn't go for it was because of the tackler in the way, but they have got it this time. Nicely done by Gavin Garol. And now 1 minute left on the clock. France have themselves another penalty here. It's been a good seesaw between these two sides. Very competitive. And at the moment, what you'd have to say is just that the ones who were doing the odds and everything got it pretty right. They said that it was about a maybe 55-45 type of game in terms of percentages for who was going to be able to win. The French currently leading by just those 2 points. Yeah, getting over the ball quickly. And not willing to let it go once he was locked in. It's going to be a chance on the halfway line for the French to be able to get this line out going. Free kick, closing the gap, going against New Zealand. That is against Haki, or no, that was Bradley Toka, in fact. Now France have got 2 seconds. Do they want to tap this one into touch, or do they want to go for one last attack? They kick it into touch, the French. They will accept the 2-point lead. 14 points to the 12. And he said, you're looking sleepy, says Bruce. I probably am looking sleepy because I am. I haven't really recovered from the weekend in terms of sleep schedule as of yet. Plus, been up since about 8 yesterday morning. But I'll be getting some sleep, not after this game, but the game after that, when the Springboks versus England game comes to a close. I'll be sleeping, and then after waking up, heading down to see my mum for her birthday. So, yeah, it'll be all right, I think. It'll be a little bit of a drive, but I should have been relatively recovered by then. We have the All Blacks at all time. says Shimoni. And also we were there, that's what I told her, says Bruce. And there as well. I have also, it probably doesn't help that I've been editing all day to get everything done that I would normally do tomorrow and the next day, so that it doesn't end up overlapping with when I'm away. Yeah, she's been a busy old day, but still got plenty more. Box's longest win streak is 18, if I'm not mistaken, says Johan. Well, they're currently on a 10-match winning streak, right? The way that it currently sits, if you do count that Barbarians game as well in the mix. They get in there. They've got a few matches to go. Of course, that would mean that they clean sweep the rivalry tour, take down Argentina in the warm-up game, beat the Welsh. Then from there, they'd have to beat Australia. And then probably the... what else? Then they've got the November internationals. They might find themselves up against either the French or the Irish. We have to get there sleep before you drive too. I certainly will be, yes. I'm going to be aiming for a good 7 to 8 hours before jumping in the car. We have got there, where's mum based? Are you in Auckland doing the vlog? Says Narosa. No, I am also in the South Island. At the moment, though, where I am, I'm about 2.5 hours north of where my mum is. So, yeah, got a little bit of a drive down to go see her. We have to there, beat Italy, Ireland, and France. And the final break, and the final will break the 18-game winning streak, says Kahu. Because the Barbars game would count, right? As a international victory, or does it not count because it's an international friendly? I don't really know what the ruling would be, but then that would also mean that the likes of the Argentina match, that's also considered an international friendly, so they'd have to count, or else then you probably got a few more that you'd be having to get first. No, says Salafa, if they count. Second half of this one, we have already seen the yellow card for Max Farley, who has not returned. And counted the Barbar, so the box should as well. And it does not count. So what is the current winning streak? Currently 9 at the moment, right? I think it would be 9. Because I had it 10 with the Barbarians game. Because, what do we had? There was the one after Eden Park. That was when it started in Wellington. Then from there was 2 more matches up against Argentina. Then there would have been the 4 or 5. Because didn't they also play Wales at the end of last year outside of the transfer or outside of the international window? So did that one count? Because I don't think they played for points, did they, in that contest either? Wales counted the Barbars. The box should count it as well, says Kahu. But the second half of this contest will not be a mile away, ladies and gentlemen. There is also a game happening in an hour and 7 minutes time, and that will be the contest. Oh, no, sorry, an hour, 37 minutes time. We have there, who cares? Listening to Rassi, their record is not on his mind. Says Seller, I guess also not count. Says Johan. So, yeah, I have no idea how many the streak is at the moment. I will mention the upcoming games that have been confirmed already for the under-20s. The 15th and 16th will be played off between the USA and Uruguay. That one's taking place this weekend at 2 a.m. Argentina versus Australia for the 7th and 8th place playoff game. That would actually be a pretty decent game if it's anything like the normal junior under-20 Rugby Championship matches between the teams. 13th and 14th will be played off between Japan and Spain. And then Scotland will take on the Welsh. And that is for the 5th and 6th place. But in terms of the upcoming games, we've got that one just around the corner between South Africa and England. As you can see, France came in as the slight favourites for this match. And to be honest, the way that the scoreboard sits pretty much says exactly what those odds did. And that is just a 2-point lead in favour of the French. South Africa, they are expected to beat England by 10 to 15 points in their later meeting. They had a bit of an interesting start up against the Welsh, but fired back brilliantly. They have also got a points differential of plus 144. So no matter who wins this game out of New Zealand or France, it is definitely going to be a huge test when they go up against the Box or the English, if they can pull off the upset. We have got there, they also beat Japan last year between the November tour. We have got there's mum down near Dunnes somewhere then. No, she is where I used to be. So at the moment, I'm away from home doing some house sitting. So because of that, I'm further up north, which is great because they have e-scooters here. You know, those little scooters that you hire and then you get to drive around. Those are good fun. We don't have them where I'm from. And also here has Uber Eats, which has been very dangerous, not just for my wallet, but also for my waistline, because that's been far too easy to get food delivered to the door. Just showing the yellow card of Max Farley again. Just came into the challenge a bit too upright. So were you living? I live in Invercargill, a few hours north of Invercargill. The easiest way to describe it, because people don't normally know roughly where it is, but it's halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin. That's easiest way. Still relatively close to the coast. Just showing the rolling maul tries. A lot of them look very similar from this game, and that's because they were. A lot of times we saw the sides just going for that maul, and it was very effective. There was only one try that was scored from... Oh, no, in fact, no, my apologies. There was no tries that were scored that weren't from a rolling maul. Oh, I'm rude, bit further north, but you're pretty close there. And come on, Le Bleu, says Tumunda there. You were going from them from the very get-go. They do seem to be the side that you want to face in the final. The stats at the moment, we have seen 7 penalties conceded for both of these sides. 6 handling errors for France compared to the 1 of New Zealand. We have seen 4 times as many passes from New Zealand as the French. We have got there, Hamish, show us you eating a nice hamburger or nice pie. You can eat while commentating. It's very hard to eat while commentating. We tried that on a cricket live stream. And you'd think with cricket it would be a little bit slower pace, so I'd have time. Like I cooked up some chips and I just ate like 2 and then that was about it. But I had some pretty sad burgers earlier on because I wanted to use up some food here before heading down south. So the burger was the bun, melted cheese on it because I melted it in the oven, some bacon, and some tomato sauce. That was the equivalent of my burger. I heard Rasi say you have to risk these records to give newer players game time under pressure, and I agree. At the end of the day, who cares if it's 10, 20, or 30 games? What I care about is the Rugby World Cup, says Yanko. And who won between South Africa and whoever. They are playing a little bit later on. Cool story. They are playing in 1 hour, 30 minutes time. They are taking on the English. It should be thoroughly entertaining game. I'm not too sure whether or not this is a halftime break of 20 minutes or 15, ladies and gents. I know that for some of these matches, they do like to give them a bit more of a spell. And that is just pretty much down to the heat that they are dealing with. So we've had about 8 minutes of the break. So it's either going to be another 7 minutes or it is going to be another 12. What's your thoughts on England versus South Africa? I think that's South Africa's game to lose. As in, like, they will win. I should clarify. That sounded like I was saying they're going to lose. But no. I think that they are in one of those scenarios where if they don't win up against the English, it would be a very big surprise. And we have got there, Sam Neill died today too. Iconic Kiwi actor. Val Sam, non-rugby, but he loved rugby. Says Anarua there. Sam Neill. Have I heard of him? I don't actually know. I'll give it a Google while we're at the halftime break. Sam Neill. See, he's the star of Jurassic Park films. I've never seen Jurassic Park. Peaky Blinders, I haven't seen that. The Piano, I haven't seen that. Okay, so it's just, I just haven't seen anything that he's been in. But, oh, no, he's in Hunt for the Wilder People. I think I saw that back when it came out. If I'm not wrong. And we have the Jurassic Park. Says Hunter Prime there. Second half of this one. I've had a lot of movies that I should have watched that I haven't. I haven't even seen Lord of the Rings, which always surprises quite a few Kiwis. We have got there, it's New Zealand, not New Zealand. And it's France, not France. Says Albania. What are we going on about? As in, like, for the title of the live stream, Albania? Is that what we're complaining about? You've seen the Merlin series twice, you said. They'd never seen it. We have got there, lives outside of Queenstown. Used to, says Rugby Debuts. And Up for the World of People in Jurassic Park, says Anarua. And we have got there about the grumpy old bugger. Is that in the hunt for the world of people? It was, wasn't it? Second half. I would say we're probably 5 minutes. Is it not? France's Hunter. What did you get your mum for her birthday? I will not say, only because even though she should be asleep at 3 a.m., I don't know whether or not she's going to watch this live stream later, or maybe she's watching it currently. So I don't want to give it away. England to win the World Cup. If they get the Willis brothers and Pollock in the back row, and Ben Spencer at 9 and Freeman on the wing, says Nathan. And New Zealand, Argentina, Japan, Scotland, Ireland, France, Wales, Barbars, England, Scotland 11 if you count the Barbars, says Johan. Yeah, so it all depends on whether or not you count the outside of window ones, doesn't it? Because then they'd lose that Japanese match, wouldn't they? Oh no, Japan was in that window. I think Wales was the one that wasn't. I assume that's Mill's son at 10, right? His nephew. So not his son, but still related to Mills Muliaina's Micah. Sitting 1 from 2 off the kicking tee today. Wales going to Barbars, the box should do it. Says Kahu, and 10-game winning streak for the box currently. Says Hunter Prime. But yeah, they will be looking to make it, well, they should be able to make it 11 this weekend, even with the lineup that they have selected here. And Drycool, says Nazi. But yeah, 4 tries in this game, all from rolling mauls. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not seen a single back score. We have not seen anyone but the front rowers score in this contest either. And up the box is Kahu. We have got there Kerwin as such a trial. We said we were average, deliberately not taking into account it was not the strongest lineup. Says cool story. Yeah, see, I learnt my lesson because I had my review. I felt like it seemed like a pretty close game without the comparison of who had what lineups and whatnot. So I titled my review Springboks narrowly beat Scotland, and boy did I get some stick for it. So I had to change it to just Springboks beat Scotland because everyone went on to tell me that it wasn't the strongest side. So even if it was close, it doesn't actually count as a close game. And yeah, I learned very quickly that any word that seems like it's used in a, because I didn't mean it in a bad way, but everyone took it as like I was taking it like a dig at the Springboks, even though we praised them the whole video. England to win the Under-20 World Cup. Bollock is ineligible, is he? Says Anaroa, not quite. Only just out of the Under-20s. I think he won a World Championship with the Under-20s, didn't he? Henry Pollock. Do these two teams not have a good backline? What a joke. No, it's just so effective to use the rolling maul in these humid conditions. Seems like both sides absolutely love getting it in the pack and just driving. What do you think of Herschel Yankees, Hamish? I didn't think we'd ever see him as a Springbok starter, or sorry, even just in the Springboks environment again, but he's a solid enough player. I still remember him back in the 2019 World Cup, I believe it was. And Scotland can beat anyone on their day. Yeah, but it was close. As I said, everyone, I agree with you. As we said before, yeah. But you're not allowed to say that it was close, I've learned. You're allowed to maybe say it outside of a title, but you're not allowed to say it as a title. I know you were right. Staying catch that it was a different game and game was on a knife edge. Says Johan, yeah, because the argument that was made was 2 converted tries isn't narrow. But again, with the moments that happened near the end of the game, it definitely could have been a lot closer. I still reckon Earl Rose is primed for their comeback. France winning the FIFA World Cup, says Junior. Will Frizzell and Moonga play in South Africa? Can the NZRU give them some made-up game to get around the rules, or do they have to play NPC? I believe they have to play NPC, unless there's like an injury crisis in certain positions. But back underway for the second half, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand kicking it off from left to right. And this game now starting back up. Currently the Kiwis, they are down by 2, but they do have 15 on the field. After the yellow card did expire in the first half, they've almost turned it into a rolling maul now here, the French. And not the good kind. Not the kind 5 metres out from a line. It is still moving for New Zealand. So that's one bonus that they've got. In fact, they're almost going to let this one come back. They've been told to use it. Does it come out? No, it doesn't. 21 points up and won by 14. Scoring with 5 to go is close, says Kahu. And we have the Earl Rose, good times, I guess, says Cool Story. Mistake made early on from New Zealand, just getting held up there, WY. I wonder whether or not New Zealand in that scenario would have been actually better off just releasing that ball, allowing France to rip it away. But I guess set piece-wise, you can sometimes get 50-50 for the scrums. But the props, they've had a good day at the office so far. Both New Zealand props scoring. New Zealand changed the rules. We want the best against the best. Yeah, but they're not going to. They're very stubborn, New Zealand rugby, as we've learnt time and time again. Collapse scrum penalty going the way of the French. They all stole some golf clubs at a course and went to jail, so 100%. He is a free man, he should train. And also the Box will be huge favourites next week against France or New Zealand, says Kahu. This weekend is when that one's going to be taking place. And that French Dan can kick OMG. A handy enough player, Luca. I just realised it's Luca and Micah as the two number 10s. It must be if you're in this competition. I guess Vusi is also 4 letters, although he's no longer in this comp. And Ahmed breaks that chain, actually, for the South Africans. So it only goes as far as this game. But now, nice attack and run for France. Was Ipsayan and the penalty to New Zealand now in the breakdown. That time it's Josh Finlay. And hashtag bring back Elton Yankees. I don't think he's quite served his ban yet. So, got to serve that ban first before being allowed to come back. Cohen Norrie. Now look to kick this one towards the sideline for New Zealand. This game is one that could easily go either way currently. Both sides have got more than enough opportunity of being able to go on and win this contest to take on South Africa or England in the final. Thoughts on Dave Rennie Amish, says Hunter? I don't mind him. I think that a lot of people were too quick trying to just chuck him out. Like, as soon as he got appointed, people were already saying to sack him, even though he hadn't coached a single game. And don't get me wrong, there is still... Oh, that's a terrible pass. Going to be the knock-on. So now France have got themselves a position. But yeah, it seems like team culture-wise, and I know that team culture doesn't win you games, but they look happier, if that makes sense. Like, the team just seem to be in a much better headspace, which is what you need. And they're playing a different style of rugby now too. So I think it's going to be interesting, but it seems like it's going all right. It's wild to get fired before you start. Exactly. But that's how some rugby supporters can be. You know, it's the same as soon as he loses a game, people are going to call for him to be sacked. Even when he had the first narrow victory up against the French, people said, nah, the All Blacks aren't playing well. Get rid of him. And hashtag bring back Elton the Yankees after he said his ban, bro. Says cool story. And both teams with so many handling errors. Yeah, it's costing them a bit here. Although, according to the stat, New Zealand only had 1 throughout that first half. I don't find that to be accurate. France had 6. And look as if both teams are trying their best to lose this match. Maybe they are. They're certainly not giving anything away to the other semi-finalists, are they? Because I believe both sides who are in that other semi-final are playing at this location. So, yeah, they're showing both sides how not to play in a way. And one was kicked downfield, looking for the 50-22, unable to get it now. New Zealand looking for one of their own, sending it into the French 22 this time. Now chasing after it, nicely taken, another knock on. Sinton got nailed in the shot. A big shot by Francis Jr., huge shot coming through. An ABs versus Box final would be amazing. It would be a rematch of last year as well. And that one was 8 points victory for the Box, wasn't it? I think it was 23-15. And AB's better win the Irish. South have a handicap. So we must clean up all we can, says Johan. Yeah, it would be huge for the Irish, wouldn't it? If they were able to be the side that ends the Eden Park streak. I think the only reason Razor got the job was the public. I don't think he was able to handle the pressure, maybe in a few more years. When he has international experience, he's still young, says Jasmine. Yeah, I think it was just the case of, like, I'm trying to work out how to word this, but because he was so successful with the Crusaders, there were people who straight away were biased against him because they didn't like the Crusaders. You know, if you were another Super Rugby team, some put that aside and looked at it as he didn't have a lot of international experience. But some did end up just going straight away, I don't like the Crusaders, so I don't like the new head coach. New Zealand South Africa supporters very similar. 90% of the time, all supporters will tell you how brilliant Rassi is. But every time the Box lose a match, everyone shouts for his head. Says Ronald. Yeah, it's a tough job being a coach. It's a tough job being a player too. Nice run forward from the French number 8. Moving away to the left-hand side. Oh, that looked high. And that is going to be an advantage going against Sinton. Crusaders says, hey, no razors. Good time will tell. Did Razor ever break dance for as an All Blacks coach publicly? I mean, he obviously did at home. No, never got the chance. Razor got a bit of a rough deal. To be fair, says Hunter. All I say is the game between South Africa and Scots might be the narrowest of margins in history, says Xander. And I all says Haino there too. They actually called for the shot here, France. So this is a difference in tactics compared to what we have seen earlier on in the game. Yeah, it's almost an uppercut there from Sinton, the way that he went into that one. An understandable penalty. Don't really care who wins this game. The winner will be the baby box, says Aino. This one is a relatively difficult kick in terms of distance, I would say, although a lot of these young guys can kick it well and truly. The 50 metres. Got the range on him, Luca, says Junior. Now, can he strike it well? Oh, well and truly the distance that he's after. Is it the accuracy, though? No, away to the right-hand side. So that is going to keep the score at 14 points to 12 now. Kalatoinen just getting that one wrong. Razor Ramon says Xander. Now taken inside of their own half here. France looking for the 50-22. That is a cheeky attempt too, but New Zealand had someone back covering. Inside of the 22, big boot. Is it too much on it though? Still bouncing around in the in-goal area. Is it going to go dead? No, it will pull up inside. And France forced that one down. Comes the goal line dropout. That could have been bad as well. For New Zealand had that one rolled dead. Paul de Villiers and Peter Steph Toy going 3 from 3. The starting duo says Sahano. Who else is Jesse Creel? He's another guy who's 3 from 3, isn't he? I think he's the only other one, right? What did you make of Ruiz on Saturday? Well, I was told on my post-match review that I'm a New Zealander and I'm not allowed to comment on Evan Ruiz. That's a true story as well, by the way. I felt like he gave away his normal penalties that he probably shouldn't have, but at the same time, he did score the try, so I said that Rassi would have some big calls to make. And yeah, I got told to shut up about that because I'm not from South Africa. But Sinton going away to the left-hand side after Muliaina now moving it on nicely for the Kiwis. That's probably the most passes we've seen completed in one phase here throughout this contest. Normally it's about 2 or 3 and that's about it, but that was about 6 in a row. Big hits coming, says Junior there too. Now Muliaina, that looked close to forward. Sinton, I don't think was anticipating that pass. Well, still there again. Away to the left-hand side. Told to play the ball there for Sinton. Evan Ruiz was poor in my eyes from the stands, says Haino. He seemed to, he did some work out there, though. That was the good thing about him. He just gave away penalties at the wrong times, unfortunately. And it doesn't matter as much in a game like that. But at the same time, like, you can make a mistake like that in a close game and it could cost your team. And Colby played versus the Scots. I thought he was our new dedicated kicker. Team is so different every game. He did not play. I think Satiti from the All Blacks was really poor against Italy. What did you think? Well, it was quite interesting looking through at what he did in the game because he had a lot of handling errors. There's no denying that. But he was actually the busiest All Black when it came to carries. He had 18 in total, the most of any player actually out on the field in general rather than just the All Blacks. And he also made the most tackles for the All Blacks with 12. So if he had caught a couple more balls, he was probably getting man of the match in terms of some of those numbers that he was putting out there. But it was just those drops that overrode the good that he was doing, which is where Rennie probably has a bit of a head-scratching moment in terms of does he play him this weekend now? New Zealand, HB needs to come off. Yeah, Sinton's hit a little bit of a weird patch, hasn't he? How he's been struggling quite a bit. We have it there, Sam Derry was very good. Derry's been solid, hasn't he? And New Zealand's halfback is rubbish, just like Finlay. Yeah, because they got Jackson Hugan or Huggin. Hugan? I always mispronounce his last name, but he is off the bench. So we've got a couple decent options too in terms of back replacements, Brownlee as well as Williams. 30 minutes remaining now, still up by 2 for Les Bleus. And our halfback's looking a weak link, drag him. So here's Wafer. Well, yeah, he's made about 3 errors in the second half already. And in the later stages of the game, that is the last thing that you want, but instability at the scrum. So it will be a free kick to the French. Too many injuries for the French team. Yeah, they've had their fair few, haven't they? And feel a drop goal coming, says how's it? And Evan Russ just can't seem to catch Russie's eye. Says Grant. I reckon Scotland lost because the Scots hooker dropped the ball. Just using them all. I thought that was the changing point, says Kahu. Yeah, see, Scotland will be gutted with how well they played at times and then the simple errors that they made at other times, mainly when it came to the handling. Colin Norrie. And in that one downfield, not as much distance on it as I'm sure he would have liked, but it will be about 43 metres out from the Kiwis line now for the French. Gabin Garol already has scored 1 try in this matchup, and we are yet to see a try other than a rolling maul one. I'll tell you right now, the under-20s highlights reel for this matchup is going to be pretty repetitive unless we get some sort of try late. And Cohen should have started his fly half, says Flows. It's a shout. He's a very talented player. That's a full pass from the French. So it is now going to be a scrum for New Zealand. Unfortunately for him, there are better 8 options. Says, how's it? Yeah, I mean, when you've got Jasper Fesa as an option, you're always going to struggle to get those starting minutes. Definitely when, you look at physicality. And, of course, Evan Ruiz offers you that, but Jasper Fesa is just an absolute tank. Rasi uses combinations. Ruiz only used for injury and resting others. Says Johan. Now scrum feed. Sinton is still out there, but for how much longer, I wonder. He's made his fair share of errors in the second half already. Do you give Wales a chance? The TB has Wales at $19 underdogs that are so bad. Yeah, they're not giving much of a crack, are they? That's actually worse than it was, by the way. They were $15 underdogs. So people have seen Rassi's new team and gone, yep, they're going to win. And Hit Kemp is an exciting prospect. Hope he has a good game today, says how's it? And also, let's go. All crazy horses, says Bruce. And Ruiz is good, but is a walking yellow. And what's for dinner your side? We have lasagna. So I tried to use up a whole heap of random stuff that I still had before heading down south. So I had a burger bun with some melted cheese on it, bacon, and tomato sauce. It was very dry, but it did the job. And I used up the bacon and used up the bun, so I'm happy. Scotland should win, right, says Kahu. Who are they playing? They're playing... Oh, nice take there. Who are Scotland playing? I don't even remember. They're not playing Argentina. They're not playing South Africa. They're playing Fiji. They should get the win up against the Fijians. I want to see Larkai unleashed on the box pack. Sears flows. I think Larkai is one of those hidden gems for the Kiwis at the moment. It wasn't on, well, probably only 2 or 3 years ago, he was actually in this under-20 setup. They're just saying there about the tackle wasn't quite how France wanted it to be. Hamish, no dinner now, 4 in the morning in New Zealand. Or rather, what are you having for breakfast from Andre in Johannesburg? Yeah, I haven't worked out breakfast. Yeah, I think I'm going to be potentially just having sleep. Be a good way to go. Marcy is on the field for the French. A short pop pass Micah Muliaina got through a pretty poor tackle attempt there. They moved to 30 metres out. Sinton goes away to the right-hand side. Finlay goes in behind. And now a few more numbers here. Haki Wiseman drops the ball, though. It has been a trend of this game. Visa, says Grant. What about France travelling to Tokyo? They will be hot, says Kahu. And between Ruiz, Visa, and Vizels, who do you think is the closest Green Yellows selected to play? See, I was going to say Ruiz, but then Visa, he can lose his head quite a bit. He's good at getting cards as well. Now, running it back forward. Going to be Micah Muliaina. Tries to fire a bullet pass to Josh Finley, even though he was like 1 metre from him. And Kobus, yes. Not Jesper. Says Johan there. It sounds like Patrick Monga. Making his way from the field. But yeah, that was a poor pass from Micah Muliaina. They're showing Josh Finlay as if it was his fault. But he would have thought it was just going to be a nice little tap pass to him. But instead, Micah just well and truly tried to biff it at his chest. Mika Fale, he is on the field though. And that is a good player to have fresh later on in a contest. I think they're just talking about Mika Fale. And how do you pronounce number 7 from France? The hope is that he never touches the ball. That's how I pronounce it. I just go, hopefully, nowhere near him. First name's Lucas. Last name is a mouthful. And man, that peanut head ref is insufferable. Everyone there to see him, says Stormer. Now going away to the right-hand side. Trying the jib behind it. Is charged down by New Zealand. Okay, it was going to be a penalty in favour of the French. But then the touch judge said he had something against the French, which then made it that it's a scrum reset now. Imagine if Takaha becomes another fortress, says Jasmine. And bar record to be broken, says Haino. I think that's what you're hoping for. Are you super brewing it, Haino, or are you going with the All Blacks? Oh, no, you don't like the Irish either, do you? So you probably hope that the All Blacks get it done right. South Africa's ahead by 2 points in goal difference, says Grant Mulders. South Africa's ahead by 2 points in goal difference. What competition we talking, Grant? We talking Nations Championship? We talking the juniors? Now going off to the left-hand side. There's a space now for the French Knights. Selling the dummy from the half. Now going for the grabber, but it backfires. Cohen Norrie manages to charge it down. He will kick it in behind. And he is trying to win the foot race. Is he going to get there? Just goes into the in-goal area. It was grounded. And they will now go back for the goal line dropout. Nations Championship. Well, I think New Zealand and South Africa, they're on the same points on 10 each, but then, yeah, the points differential is in favour of the South Africans currently by an extra 6 or so, isn't it? And only New Zealand, Ireland, and South Africa can win the Nations Champions Cup, says Andrea. Would be very funny if the record is broken, but hopefully it's Australia, not Ireland. Ireland will glorify it like they won the World Cup, says Aino. Yeah, they would do something that about 50 other sides have not been able to do. And is in that streak. And in the back, here comes Mika Fale. You have to tackle him around the bootlaces because or else that man breaks through tackles for fun. Beautiful step there from Pahulu. Kiwis on the attack once more. This is the best that they have looked throughout this half in terms of meters made. Sinton goes away to the right again. Now 22 minutes remaining on the clock. A nice step in the middle of the field from Bradley Tocker. Sinton popping the ball on the inside. Mika Fale 2 metres short of the line. France almost able to get the turnover. Sinton though passes it off to, it's over the line. Yes it is. And New Zealand score with Finn McLeod to be able to take the lead. And go New Zealand, says Jasmine. New Zealand scored, says Flows. I think you're about 30 seconds ahead of me by the looks of that. And All Blacks won't lose to Ireland and Auckland, says Hunter Prime. I don't want a lot of fire. Do perhaps have a Ajisera Matchi, says Xander. And a nice ball. Mika Fale, he just looked determined as soon as he had that ball in his hands. Finished it off in style, though. Finn McLeod, he has got that Crusaders contract. A massive score with 20 minutes to go, says Haino. And go eat snails, France, says Jasmine. What would be the equivalent of that for us here in New Zealand? Would it be like go eat fish and chips, New Zealand? Or go eat, what would you say for New Zealand? Go eat pavlova? One's gone over. That's a nice easy kick for Norrie. It's the score now 19 points to 14. You see that Norrie is still exhausted from that run that he made earlier on. They have got the cooling break now. A kiwi pie. Is a go eat a pie, New Zealand, I guess. Is that the equivalent? I feel like I'd much rather eat a pie than a snail, though. What's happening with Sasha? Is he coming back against the Pumas? Apparently he's nearly ready. Yeah, it's a bit of a wait and see for Sasha, isn't it? In terms of whether or not he will be match fit. I don't think they'll want to rush him back, though. Go kiss a sheep. I guess so, yeah. Although us and the Welsh always seem to have the rivalry in terms of who gets the most stick about sheep, don't we? They just said there Finn McLeod only arrived 3 days before the last pool match. It's probably a great player to have the perfect time. Are you baking your mum a birthday cake? No, she'd much prefer one that's actually edible. But there might be a cake involved. And we have got their Pollard injured. Not that I know of. He went off for like a couple minutes and then went back out to eat New Zealand pies, apparently the best pies in the world. Yeah, I would happily eat a pie if I was threatened to eat one. Do you think Amua and Tokiaho should be our 1 and 2 hookers? I think it's a really tricky one because Cody Taylor last year was one of the best hookers, if not the best hooker around the world from that number 2 jersey. So based off Super Rugby form, you know, the Eden Park Test match, you'd go Tokiaho and then Amua off of the bench. But because of Taylor's experience and what he's been able to do at internationals, that's why he gets the nod. But I also do think that Amua as well as Tokiaho do have time to become that number 1 option too. Argentina game prior to New Zealand. Coming will be full strength to get cohesion, says Johan. And just got in. Good game. It's been a decent one so far. We've seen one try that hasn't been scored off a rolling maul. The other 4 have. But there's been a few handling errors along the way too. I think it's been a nice close game, which is always ideal in a playoff. There is a book on Kiwi pies, rather New Zealand pies. Do not want people to think you fry kiwis, says Andrea. And also, how many number 10s do the Box have? Like, it's just not fair anymore. Their squad is so big. Says Kahu. Just Googled, apparently he is. I think towards the end of the game, he went down hamstring. Likely, that is why Kewan Horn took the last kick. Says Haino. You see, it's always very hard to tell with Rassi because he sometimes announces it so early in the week that you don't normally get all of the headlines about who's injured, who's not, until later on. Like, more than likely, Rassi's team will have 1 or 2 changes by the weekend because they seem to all get injured in trainings during the week. So we saw it with Kolisi as well as Edsebeth in the first week. We saw it with Kanan Moody in the second week. So someone's going down, you would think. Just a curious one to know who it will be. Currently 20 seconds remaining in this contest. 20 minutes. A little bit longer than the 20. Okay, penalty against Oliver Guerin for a push off the ball. It was going to be New Zealand's ball, but they've done something stupid to now give the French the opportunity to get something going here. And that is the type of moment that can change a game. The French now will be able to kick it inside of the New Zealand 22. It's a good spiral kick. Well, off the outside of the boot. We have got there, surely Wales don't lose by more than 73. This time against the Box right, says Kahu. And after Saturday's clash, Damien De Allende will require only 1 more test appearance after this match to earn his 100th cap. Well, Peter Toy will only require 2 more to achieve that. Was there a mix-up after that first round match, by the way? Another advantage going the way of France here, and a penalty. Double blow of the whistle. Here comes that yellow card for New Zealand that they are used to getting late against the French in semi-final matches. But, was there a mix-up? Because were they supposed to give Damien Willemse man of the match, but they gave it to Damien Dialende? I heard someone was complaining about that, or saying that they got the wrong guy. But Dialende had a solid game too, didn't he? And Kenneth Reinach requires only 1 more try to move to 100 test points in the green and gold. So he's getting close. Starting on Saturday. Now rolling here again. France have scored 2 tries from rolling mauls throughout this contest. Still looking to get it going in the right direction, and it's moving very nicely down over the line. They score their 3rd rolling maul try. And that is 19-19 now. France scored more. I think you're still ahead, Flo, so if you can delay it by 30 or so seconds, it would be greatly appreciated. We have the yes, there was, says Haino. But it is Alaya Massi, another front rower. They're just showing the replay here for Massi. Oh, there is a hand slamming that down. He's fine there. Managed to get it down, Massi. And now lining up this kick will be Diego Jerd. And hooking it around, missing to the side. It's 19-19. Are we going to end up in a scenario where this one goes to extra time? 1 second. Yeah, we'd go to extra time, wouldn't we? Is it 20 minutes, 20 minute in total? Or are we golden point in the juniors? I can't even remember which one they go with. Now nicely taken by the skipper of France inside of his own 22, but New Zealand locked on the ball, and a penalty one. It is Finn McLeod again, who has been an absolute super sub for the New Zealanders in this game. It has won the ball in a crucial position on the field here. You see it there, the low tackle from Haki Wiseman, and then Finn McLeod straight in that breakdown over the ball. I think France were asking for it to be side entry or maybe not rolling away. I think it was just anything that they could get from the referee, and the referee in the end gave them nothing. Couple subs now for New Zealand, one particularly in the front row. Henry Stewart will make his way off, and that is going to bring on James Moore. This game is still well and truly for the taking here. Line out for Josh Finlay. And Finn's a future star, absolutely. He has already shown in this game how great he is. He's going to show it for the Crusaders as well when given those chances. Here comes the rolling maul. France ripping it away, slapping it backwards and grounding the ball. It's taken back, so it will be a 5-metre scrum for New Zealand. That could have been a lot worse, as it seemed like the Kiwis had dropped that ball. They've ruled it as a strip. You're going to see it here. Yeah, looked like Sinton may have knocked that on at the back of the maul for the New Zealanders. I would not be surprised if Sinton goes off soon. They seem like they want to keep him out there for as long as possible, but he also may make a big mistake that costs them. Rolling maul try, come on, New Zealand, says Jasmine, although they've got the scrum here now. That is going to be the first priority, try and win the scrum, and then if you get the advantage, maybe you look towards the corner. At the match aside, there'll be 2 extra time halves, 2 10-minute halves, right, Ronald? For the players' sake, I hope it's only 10-minute halves, because 20-minute halves would be absolutely brutal. Definitely with the heat that they're playing in. Sinton going away to the left-hand side. Haki Wiseman, another knock on. Although they've said it's gone backwards. Backline movement for New Zealand. Norrie in the middle of the field. It's a surprising one that they've said that Haki Wiseman knocked that ball backwards. That was a clean out. That also looks slightly illegal from New Zealand, but they are right on the verge of crossing the line. It's Mika Fale who does get over, and now the Kiwis take the lead back in this contest. Oh, number 11 cannot talk to me like that. I think number 11's just been sent to the bin for some wrongful words towards the referee. It is Melvin Ratez. Mika Fale slamming over the line to manage to score it for New Zealand there. Yeah, his eyes lit up as soon as he saw that he was close enough to get to that try line, Mika Fale. I'm curious as to what happened here with the number 11. We have there, I believe, it's 2 5-minute extra halves and then a kickoff. So here's Justin. Oh, a lot of height there on the kick from Norrie. And it's missed away to the side. Hang on. Hang on. Double blow of the whistle. Yeah. Knock on by New Zealand 12. I have no idea when they didn't see that one live. Haki Wiseman, like I mentioned at the time, clearly knocked the ball on. But this one will now be ruled out. It's just a shame that they've waited so long to review it. And I go away, TMO. But yeah, it's the first carry off the scrum. Haki Wiseman running it at the French. And then from there, yeah, knocks the ball on. It's a clear knock on too. You're saying, let's see if there's a clear knock on. To me, it looks pretty clear. They're happy it's no high tackle. Okay, this is a tricky one. George Selwood cannot see it because of the sun. But the TMO is helping him out, saying that there was the knock on. Ish says Lawrence. And NZ players choking. And 5-minute break after full time. Then 2 times 10-minute halves. So it could be a long game. I love the commentary. You're making me nervous. Says Johan there, but that is going to be no try for New Zealand. Back to 1919 with the 14 minutes remaining. I have to say, for the sake of these two sides and the sake of fatigue, we've got to remember these guys are going to be playing in about maybe 5 days' time. So they cannot afford to play an extra 20 minutes of rugby up against each other here. 19 all. And just talking about Bastian Razal, the way that he's been able to work from that number 12 jersey, he just running into people. That's still 14 minutes on the clock. That's a lot of time in a game of rugby union. That's pretty much a game of sevens, but it's 15 on 15 here. Oh, not quite actually. It's 15 on 14. Caleb Woodley off the field currently for the New Zealanders. Oh, they've just said it's sudden death extra time. 10 minutes each way. First to score wins. Okay, so it's pretty much golden point. Now, another tackle made by Sinton there. And we have got there, I see 1924 for France. Says Angerat, and sorry for New Zealand, says Hanger. So they just haven't updated it, but it's 1919. New Zealand's try disallowed. The Under-20 Rugby World Cup semi-final is draw at full time. The teams play extra time. So it's a 2 10-minute halves separated by a 1-minute break, although they have just clarified as well that it's 10-minute halves. Oh, what a run that is from would have been Oliver Gurin. But, yeah, what you end up having is sudden death, which means you're pretty much whoever scores any points can then end the game throughout that first period. Now, bounce pass, 25 metres out for the line currently. The Kiwis, although a lot of pressure there in the breakdown. Hands went down, though, from Razal. Going to wait to the left-hand side for Siale Pahulu, almost up to the 22. Evening, Hamish, says Kyle. Welcome in. Nice quick hands from Mika Fale, who all but scored just before that was taken out past the breakdown by the looks of that one. Get him back up to the feet, having another crack at it, but it's isolated a player, and France have got the clean turnover. Brilliantly done by the French. Oh, bit of a rough pass though, putting themselves under pressure, looking for the cross kick from inside of their own 22, and it's put into touch. That was almost a brilliant take. It is going to be the line out for New Zealand, 22 metres out. It's a risk to go for a cross kick inside of your own 22. It was a brilliant turnover initially for Baptiste Vusambre. Now, Josh Finlay, it's looking like he's going to be playing a majority of this game. Xavier Leota could make its way off the bench at some point. We also do see Logan Williams now on. That is for David Luai. And they are still playing with 14 as well here in New Zealand. Evening, Hamish, Slim at Night. Says Kyle, welcome in. Now thrown over the top. Well controlled. Oh, no, not straight. From New Zealand there at line-out time. The team that scored the most tries in the semi-final match. Including extra time, says Andrea. So that would be after the extra time, right? Or after the golden point. That would be coming up in 11 minutes. Surely we don't reach that stage, do we? If the try count is also equal, a coin toss determines the winner. That's a terrible way to end a game, though, isn't it? Imagine you've played at what would be 100 minutes of rugby just for them to then go, right, heads or tails? And then, oh, I don't know where that went. But that would be a rough way to lose. Imagine you lose a coin toss. Like, at least make them do paper, scissors, rock or something like that so that it feels like they've won it. Now, charging forward off the back of the scrum. Mika Fale, though. It was the captain. Now, Masi did score before 1919. Yeah, they don't want to take New Zealand's try back, do they? They're keeping it on the side of the Kiwis for now, but I don't think it will be there for long unless, of course, they do score again. It's the evening in South Africa. I don't know what the time is in New Zealand right now. At the moment in New Zealand, it is 3:32 a.m. Or sorry, 3:42 a.m. Mika Fale up to the halfway line. Now, chipped him high. That's not the choice. Straight back into the hands of the French. Everyone's trying to be too fancy at the moment. Fundamentals will win this game. Counter ruck could win it for New Zealand there as they get the possession back on the short side now. Tried the bullet pass from Charlie Sinton. It will be the penalty to the Kiwis. This one might be a little bit too far out for the kicking range. Right, Koinori, they're talking about his distance and maybe the fact that he doesn't have it here. Brownlee, he comes on for Caleb Woodley. I like these changes from New Zealand. As soon as a player gets a yellow card, they don't bring them back. They don't want that risk. Oh, New Zealand are going for the 3 points. Now, I will remind everyone, France went for the 3 earlier on in this contest and they missed. He had the distance, but he didn't have the accuracy. In this case, it looks like Micah Muliaina is in fact going to be the one stepping up, a man with a bit more distance. This is about 47 metres out on the angle, which is a big strike. Micah Muliaina, he'll be backing himself, and he has to. In this scenario, this would give New Zealand a lead by 3. No matter what the scoreboard tries to say, it's trying to give New Zealand that last try, but they didn't actually get it. Micah Muliaina, he's hit it very well. It's got the distance, and it's gone over too. What a strike from Micah Muliaina. And 22 points to 19. That was a huge strike of the ball. And their blown replacement winger Williams is a liability, either brilliant or awful. Says Wafer. And he made the right call. Says Jasmine, I'm hoping the All Blacks get this done. Says Hanger Rat. It could be a rematch of what we saw last year. Nicely taken inside of the 22 by Micah Muliaina, now popping it up to Mika Fale. France will be looking for that change or that turnover right away. It's a good clearing kick from the Kiwis. Bouncing ball, awkward trial penalty. It was the penalty. The scoreboard really doesn't like the fact that that one was disallowed. But yeah, score is 22-19. Going away to the right-hand side. Nice movement of the ball here from France. Forward pass though. And New Zealand will have the scrum on the halfway line. France making their crucial errors that they were making earlier in the contest too. So we'll go like that. And we'll go like that. Do we fix it? Kind of. We'll go with that for now. Okay, yep, they're saying there that it was forward. Nothing to lose for the All Blacks. Might as well take the chance. Says Hanger Rat. On the halfway line. Micah Muliaina could actually slot it over from this far out too if they were to win the scrum penalty here, New Zealand. Guiar is replaced here. Avogadro will make his way on. Axel Guiar not happy with being taken off the field this late in a contest. As a young player, you just want to be there in those final moments. Definitely if your side can get themselves the victory. 6.5 to go. France technically can still get a penalty to take this one back to level. Or either of these sides could score a try. But if New Zealand score now, they win this game. I don't think there'd be enough time for France to come back, even though we've seen stranger things happen in an under-20s matchup. Now ball goes in. Wait to the right-hand side, Micah Muliaina. He's looking for the 50-22. He's kicked it out on the full. That's the second time in this game that they have attempted the 50-22, New Zealand. And Muliaina has kicked it just far too clean. I don't think that man knows how hard he kicks a ball. The execution letting him down. And France now with an attacking chance. 6 to go on the clock. That is a make or break moment there. Kiwis can lose it from here. Close game, says Xander. They certainly can, and they might because of what just happened there with the kick going into touch. That's a not straight throw. Referee has allowed it. Caught on the outside shoulder for France. Now breaking off the back here. Beautiful offload. And they move up to 25 metres out from the Kiwi line. Pick and go there. Sinton working hard to make the early tackle. Get the ball, New Zealand, says Jasmine. Now Mussy. Josh Bradley told to let go of it. He's done very well to not give away the penalty. Big run from the big tight head prop. Now the French, they look confident in the way that they are attacking right here and right now, trying to milk the penalty. Isn't going to be winning it. A bit of a mistake made by the 9. Beautiful step, though, from Razal. 5 minutes still left on the clock, and it's the knock on there. And a little bit of extras there from Bobby Bissou too. He's not happy with putting that ball down. New Zealand decide to sink the slipper into it and send it downfield. Williams with a great spot tackle. Now running down the wing. Chance here. Pace for France. It becomes a 2-on-1. And now they just need to pass it perfectly. And they do. And France score right near the end of this game. The mistake from Bobby Basu down one side of the field. The Kiwis just sent it flying downfield, hoping that would reprieve the pressure, but it didn't find touch. The French with the counter-attack, and they score right near the end of this game. No, says Johan Stickling. But just beautiful draw and pass there. The African teams are doing really well, says Woolley, and also France in there, says Cameron. Wow, says Hunter. But it is Adrian Droch who does score. If New Zealand was going to choke, stayed up for nothing, says Flows. And the thing is, that one was scored between the posts, which does mean for the French that unless they get timed out here, which they do not, the kick goes over, that now gives them a 4-point lead. That means New Zealand now need a try. They can't afford to just get a 3, but Bobby Basu went from being at the lowest of low. No. I was going to say they didn't check afterwards. He did show frustration and he actually kicked one of the New Zealand players a little bit, but I don't think he kicked him hard enough to be any sort of foul play. Well, I'd like to think they would have checked it anyway. Most of the team is white, says Cameron. And we have got there NZ Dum Dum Dum. And also, could it be South Africa versus France? It certainly could be. New Zealand have got themselves a line out about 28 metres from the line. Oh, what's happening now? Referee's just getting some of his gear checked. Oh, no, they're all good. I thought he was calling over the players, but he was just trying to get his microphone sorted with the TMO. 2 minutes remaining. Josh Finlay throws it into the front. Every remaining second is crucial for the Kiwis here. Josh Finlay passes it back to Sinton. New Zealand need a penalty advantage to play this one with a bit of confidence for the closing moments. Any handling error now, though, and this game can be done and dusted. It's in the hands of Kobe Brownlee. Mika Fale. If anyone was going to be able to finish off this game in style for the Kiwis, it would be that man, but he gets driven backwards. Something that you do not see too often for the big replacement. Now Sinton to critical kick mistakes in the last 2 minutes. The last thing you need to do is give the French a counter-attack and opportunities in open play. Should have had the scrum for the knock-on and run the clock down, says Ronald. Yeah, I think their goal was just to get as far downfield as they could, but they needed that ball to find touch to stop the game and stop that counter-attack like you mentioned. Currently, another 80 seconds remain here. New Zealand moving away to the right. Maika Muliaina with the ball on the inside. They have to score a try here, New Zealand. We'll reiterate. Oh, mistake made. It wasn't a knock-on. It's gone backwards. France close to getting the 2-0. They've been told to get out of it. Still on the side of New Zealand. Sinton goes across to Haki Weisman. They're not doing anything too risky here, the Kiwis. Just going for one pass and trying to drive that little bit closer to the 22. Waiting for the French to be the side that make the mistake. But handling-wise in this game has been shocking at times. Nice offload to Logan Williams. Lined up again, 25 metres from the try line for New Zealand. They're up to, I'd say, about 12 phases at the moment in a row. 30 seconds remain on the clock here. Drop of the head, protecting it as well as they can. But any handling error, it is going to cost them. Now going away to the right-hand side. Sinton. Looks like they're just getting a little bit slower as well there, New Zealand, and it's going to cost them. The French on the ball, and they win the penalty, France, with 6 seconds remaining. Redemption from last year as they look to head to the final to take on either South Africa or the English in the very near future. We have got there France, please, says Mohadin, and I'm going to bed, says Jasmine. But now all they have to do is take the tap, kick the ball out. They're going to wait for Josh Finlay, though, as he is right next to the mark and doesn't look like he's doing too flash at the moment. Okay, referee has just said if they want to take the mark a little bit further back to kick it into touch, and that is exactly what the French do. They win this game after being knocked out by New Zealand last year in the semi-final in Georgia today. They have booked themselves that final spot, and now it's a wait and see, because in 20 minutes' time, it will be South Africa versus England, and we will then learn who will be the French opposition for the final of the Under-20 World Championship. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. The French win it 26 points to 22. Like I said, we are back in around 20 minutes or so's time with the next live stream on the channel. But I do thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.